Welcome to my second channel. These are the 12 pieces for the Burr puzzle that I made on my main channel. You can see that they're all the same, but there's just one issue with these. There's a weak spot in the design. These two connection points have a tendency to break easily, and I've narrowed it down to 3 reasons why. First, those joints were the last ones for me to glue together, and I don't have a clamp big enough to clamp this whole part. Second, it's a small contact point compared to all of the other glued points. And third, it's the highest leverage point for the whole piece. In this video, I'll be showing you what I did to strengthen this weak spot. This process will involve separating and reconnecting these joints. So the first thing that I did was to add pencil marks at the joints to help me when I'm ready to realign them. This one is already broken, but for the ones that aren't already, I'll break one of the joints after marking them. I'm going to be drilling a hole through the middle of these pieces, so I mark an X on the face of the joint that's broken. I start with a pilot hole using a 1/16 inch drill bit. This bit is barely long enough to go through 2 of the blocks, but that's fine for the pilot hole. Try to get the hole as straight as possible because that will help guide the larger bit. I'm using a 3/16 inch brad point drill bit for the larger hole. You can see that this bit is longer than the first 2 blocks. I need to make sure that I go in further, so I align the bit with 3 blocks, then I mark it with some tape. Now it's time to drill this bigger hole. The pilot hole I drilled earlier will help guide this bit, but it's still important to try to drill this hole straight also. And make sure to clear the hole out. Using this 3/16 inch dowel, I double check to make sure that I drilled the hole deep enough. It looks good, so now it's time to break it at the other weak joint. You can see that I didn't get the hole perfectly straight, but that's fine because the hole did not come out of the side. But I do want to attach these other 2 pieces. I'm just going to use wood glue. On this piece with the hole, make sure to glue the side with the X to the other piece. I use my thumb to feel the alignment of the edges, and I check the mark that I made at the start to make sure that the alignment is correct. Once the alignment is good, I grab my clamp to clamp it together. I use these other blocks so that when I tighten the clamp, it won't shift the joint that I glued. After the glue sets, I'll drill into this piece. No need for a pilot hole this time, I just use the existing hole as a guide. In order to cut the dowel to the correct length, I need to measure and mark it. I put it into the hole in the first piece, then I mark the dowel at that depth. After removing it, I can measure it. I'll show 2 ways to measure it, depending on what tools you have. Notice with the tape measure, the mark is at about 1/2 inch. Put the dowel into the hole of the second piece, then measure out the same amount from there, but make sure to mark it a little bit shorter. This will give you more room to work with later. The second way to measure is easier in my opinion. By using a caliper, you don't need to remember the measurement. Adjust the caliper to the measurement, lock it into place, then hold it up and make your mark. Now you're ready to cut the dowel. After your dowel is cut, slide it into the hole and put the pieces together. Sometimes it'll fit perfect right away, and sometimes it'll be slightly off. You may need to sound the ends of the dowel just a little bit if the pieces don't quite connect flush. Sometimes the hole will somehow be a little crooked. Since the dowel may not be perfectly straight, sometimes you can just twist it a little bit to fix that problem. It may take a few tries. If that still doesn't work, you may need to use your drill bit to straighten the hole up a little bit. When I have the pieces and the dowel aligned good, put a mark on the edge of the dowel to show you which way goes up, then remove the dowel. Put some glue into the deeper hole. I added the glue 1 drop at a time, and I added about 3 to 5 big drops. Then I pushed the dowel into the hole, making sure that the mark was turned up. When the dowel ran out of space at the bottom of the hole, I got some assistance to help me push it all of the way in. When it gets hard to press in, glue is pushing past the sides of the dowel, and you should get some coming out if you added enough glue. Now add some glue into the other hole, just follow the same process. You can see when I pulled it back out, glue did go up the side of the dowel, but this time I need more. I need enough glue to squeeze past the dowel and also coat the faces of the two pieces. As I push them together, I twist the piece around to help spread the glue as it squeezes into the gap between the two pieces. As I wipe away the excess glue, I check the alignment and I hold the pieces under pressure. If you have a clamp that's big enough to clamp this whole thing, that would work better. I don't, so I just hold it like this for a bit. After the glue fully sets, I grab some sandpaper and sand the edges to get the dried glue off and also the pencil marks. And finally, for the step that I've been waiting for, I'm going to wipe this down with some wood oil. As I was building these puzzle pieces, I purposely arranged the blocks in all different directions, hoping that it would make the puzzle look better after oiling them. You can see how much of a difference that makes, so I'm going to do the rest of the pieces. If you haven't seen the video yet where I build these puzzle pieces, you can check that out on my main channel. And if you decide to build it yourself, remember to include the steps from this video as you're building it. Thank you for watching.